5:15 on Monday, August 22nd, 2016, and the Carroll City Council meeting is now in session. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please note that everyone is in attendance. And our first item is the consent agenda, which is approval of the minutes of the August 8th meeting, approval of bills and claims, and in licenses and permits, there is a new special Class C liquor license for beer and wine with Sunday sales for Hunan Chinese Restaurant, renewal of a Class C beer permit and Class B wine permit. Carry-out wine includes native wine with Sunday sales at Big Kmart, number 3585. Renewal of a Class C liquor license with Sunday sales, BNS 529. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Haley?
Yes.
Benami?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Bass? Yes. Seaman?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Are there any oral requests and communications from the audience on items not on the agenda? Seeing none, there are no ordinances this evening, and our first resolution is the Alley Block 10 Original Town Abandoned Tank Site Assessment Change Order. And Randy, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. During the sampling activities of our Tier 1 site assessment for an abandoned tank site in the 100 block of East Highway 30, which is in the alley near Walgreens, there was free product found in one of the sampling sites. And as a result of that finding of free product, the DNR has required the preparation of a Tier 2 site assessment and a free product assessment and report. So we've asked Seneca Environmental, who we originally contracted with in 2016 to perform the Tier 1, to convert that to a Tier 2 and the free product assessment and report. They have done that by change order, which is included in your memorandum, and it's broken down into the two phases of the work. $9,025 for the Tier 2 site assessment and $7,462.20 for the free product assessment and reporting, for a total change order of $1,647.20. And that would bring their contract to $25,151.55. So it's more than doubling the contract, tripling the contract. Unless there are any questions, I'd recommend passage of the resolution accepting the change order with Seneca Environmental.
What is it that they're looking for, Randy? A free product. Could you give us a little explanation on that?
Sure. Yeah. This all started about 10 years ago when the Walgreens building went under construction and the paving of the alley was removed, and there was some contaminated soil observed. Well, and there was also found to be 2 underground storage tanks that were still in the ground in the alley. Now the developer for the Walgreens took it upon themselves to perform a Tier 1 study at the time, and then the tanks were removed and then soil put back. Well, 10 years later, the DNR reopens this issue. There was, in the original Tier 1, there was some indication of free product, which is fuel. In this case, it was fuel oil that was not bound to the soil, but was free within the water in the soil. So that's what prompted this relook at the Tier 1. At the time, there was no further action dictated by the DNR. But on their review, 10 years later, is what brought the Tier 1 up to take a look at it again. Well, during the Tier 1, a monitoring well was drilled, and groundwater was sampled, and it showed fuel oil on top of the groundwater. So what they're driving at now it'll be as a result of the Tier 2 and the free product assessment. The DNR will dictate what has to be done, but in all practicality, it'll be cleanup of that free product from under the ground. Now, when I say free product, there's two types of contamination. One is dirt contamination, where it's gray and it's contaminated with hydrocarbons or whatever it may be. And you can excavate it and get it all out, and then farm it out and refill it. And that's been done on several tanks in town. This one, the fuel oil is not only in the soil, it's in the water in the soil. So it's free to move around. And that's the concern with this site right now.
And so that's all under concrete?
Yes, it is. Mhm.
Is it typical for the DNR to take 10 years to review such a thing, or did something prompt this?
I don't know what prompted it. We haven't had experience like this before with the DNR. I'm not sure how this got dropped for 10 years and then why it even got picked back up. But we've had a couple of notifications of tanks within the city as a result of picking these up several years later, and this is one of them. And I don't know why. They don't explain it. I can't explain it. It's just that they did take a look at it after this much time.
Randy, what are our options here?
Well, I don't think you have the do-nothing option available. The DNR is dictating this be done. And they have the state code on their side, and federal code, that back when Walgreens began their construction and removed the concrete and we saw these tanks, of course, we immediately said it's not ours, because we didn't want to get the city involved. That's why Walgreens took it upon themselves to do this, well, their developer, to do this Tier 1 so that they could keep their construction moving forward. That was very important to them. Well, we've known all along that these tanks sit on alley property, public property, but there is no way that the city ever used those tanks, So that's what we keep mentioning to the DNR, that the city isn't in the tank business. I mean, the city never used any tanks in the right-of-way, but they were, at some point in the past, the city permitted burying these tanks in the public right-of-way. And now, based on current laws, the city becomes the default responsible party for these tanks.
Who has the most money?
And,
So these would be like fuel tanks from the hotel that used to be there?
well,
Something like that?
the history of that site indicates certainly the hotel. It could have been fuel oil furnace for the hotel, or there was at one time a service station on that corner, which is now the Walgreens parking lot. And so they may have been related to that service station. We're not sure. The DNR looked into all of that to try to find a responsible party for these tanks, and they decided the city was the responsible party because they're on public property. So it's a pretty common, we've dug up several that have been on city property. And most, we just take the gray soil, the contaminated soil with it, and then file a closure report, and it's done. I don't know, maybe 10 years later they'll come back, but we haven't run into free product on any of the previous ones in the right-of-way. So they may be a closed issue. But once again, the DNR had required the city to do that because they were on public property. And certainly the city never, operated a service station, and that, so it's important, certainly in this day and age, as you go into the future, that you don't permit anything to be buried, anything like this on public right of way. But back at the time, there was really no indication that this would ever be an issue, so.
Any other questions for Randy? Seeing none, I'll look for a motion to approve the resolution accepting the change order to the contract agreement with Seneca Companies Incorporated for the site assessment of the alley Block 10 Original Town.
So moved. Second.
There is a motion and a second. Haley?
Yes.
Fleischner?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Benami?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Base? Yes. Motion is approved.
Thank you. Our first report of the evening is the annual council planning session date change, and Laura, when you're ready.
Yes, at the last council meeting, council took action to set the interviews for the city manager position for this coming Saturday, which was also the date that we had set aside originally for our council's annual planning session with Jeff Schott of the University of Iowa Institute of Public Affairs. I've been in contact, and an additional date that had been tentatively agreed upon with council as well as Jeff Schott is Monday, November 7th. Instead of doing Saturday, we'll do a Monday night evening session from 4 and hopefully conclude about 8 p.m. that night. I guess I'm looking for council to officially take action to say, yes, this is the date that we will now do the council annual planning session.
It's on my calendar.
Any questions for Laura? I think it's all pretty self-explanatory. I just need a motion.
Move to accept.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Fleischner?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Base? Yes. Cots?
Yes.
Benami?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
I trust everyone has read the committee reports and the monthly activity reports, and I would like to thank everybody preemptively for changing this city manager position so we can get that done this weekend. Hopefully everybody can be in attendance, and we have a positive outcome this weekend to get that completed. Any comments from the council?
Would you like to make mention of the meet and greet Friday night, open to the public?
Oh, what, did
Friday
we have
night
time?
is the meet and greet for the city manager candidates. It is from 5:30 to 6:30 at Santa Maria Winery.
5:30, 6:30.
Yep, and it is open to the public.
Okay. 5:30, 6:30, thank you.
5:30, 6:30.
Okay. I just wasn't sure of the time. Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Haley?
Yes.
Fleischner?
Yes.
Base? Yes. Benami?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.